Hello again, and welcome back to Granny Dorothy Visits. Today's topic is kissing the big excuses goodbye. And the first reading is from Louise Hay's little book, Everyday Positive Thinking, and this quote is from Deepak Chopra. How you emotionally respond in a relationship with joy, sadness, fear, or anger can say a lot about your thoughts and belief systems. And the second and last reading for today, is, because it's a little bit longer, is from Wayne Dyer's book, Excuses Be Gone. And this is entitled, Your Lingering Early Programming. In addition to our genetic makeup, the other big excuse that most of us use to justify unhappiness, poor health, and lack of success is the family and cultural conditioning we've been programmed with. To that end, there's a fascinating area of inquiry known as memetics, which deals with the mind and is analogous, sorry, you know what I mean, to the relationship of genetics to the body. So as the basic unit of genetics is the gene, the basic unit of memetics is the meme, rhymes with team. Yet, unlike an atom or an electron, the meme has no physical properties. According to Richard Brody in his work, Virus of the Mind, it's a thought, belief, or attitude in your mind that can spread to and from other people's minds. Richard Dawkins, the Oxford biologist who coined the word meme, describes the process in his book, The Selfish Gene. My understanding is that memetics originates from the word mimic, meaning to observe and copy behavior. This behavior is repeated and passed on to others, and on the mimicking process goes. The key point is this: transferring an idea, attitude, or belief to others is done mentally. We won't find memes by turning up the magnification on any microscope. They pass from mind to mind via hundreds of thousands of imitations. By the age of 6 or 7, we've all been programmed with an endless inventory of memes that act very much like a virus. They aren't necessarily good or bad. They simply spread easily throughout the population. Once a meme is in your mind, it can and will subtly influence your behavior. This is one of the ways you acquire a huge category of excuses that keep you in a rut. For example, my memes made me do it. I can't help it. These ideas, or beliefs, attitudes, have been passed on to me from one mind to another for generations, and there's nothing I can do about the way I think. These memes have been the building blocks of my mind, and I can't deprogram myself from these viruses of the mind that just keep replicating and spreading. These ideas, brackets, memes, are so much a part of me that it's impossible to disinfect myself from the results of all of these mind viruses. Every excuse you read about in this book is, in reality, a meme that was once planted in your mind. Richard Brody uses the word virus to describe what happens in the mind through mimicking and imitating. The core purpose of a virus is to make as many copies of itself as possible by penetrating wherever an opening occurs and spreading itself to as many hosts as possible. Similarly, you're a host for countless memes. They're the entrenched thoughts and behavioral characteristics of your personality. You've spent years repeating and replicating ideas that were traveling from one mind to another, spreading these ideas and beliefs to many others. Memes die hard because they've become who you think you are. Shedding them is like trying to discard one of your vital organs, and it taps your life energy. Many memes, in fact, were firmly implanted by your parents during your early family history. It will come as no surprise that they were easily transferred to you from your parents or grandparents. Since ideas get fixed in your mind by spreading from other minds, they become your reality, often for your entire life. Personally, I find it fascinating that there are invisible little units that I allowed to be implanted in my mind, which continue to impact how I think and behave today. Moreover, I've acted on these mind viruses and have passed them on to my children. Unwittingly, I've become a carrier. Here are some examples that continue to crop up in my life. I grew up in the Depression mentality. Even though I was born in 1940 at the tail end of the Great Depression, my parents and grandparents lived through hard economic times and shared a lot of their scarcity messages with me. Don't spend recklessly. Save for the future because things will only get worse. There are shortages everywhere. Food is in minimal supply. Don't waste anything. Eat everything on your plate. You don't have enough money. These ideas were invisibly passed on to me as I grew up in the Midwest in the 1940s. I mimicked or imitated these ideas and allowed myself to become an instrument of these mind viruses. They grew in me, and I spread them wherever I went until they became fully ensconced in my mind and many of my actions. Although I'm now in my 60s, these memes are very much alive today and are still attempting to replicate and spread. To some extent, they serve a purpose, although they occasionally work overtime. My world isn't endangered by poverty, for instance, but I'm still a financially cautious person who likes to save rather than dispose of items retaining some usefulness. I respect those attitudes, and they no doubt originated in my childhood by being programmed into my habitual subconscious mind. But do I really need to retrieve used up toothpaste tubes discarded by my children in waste paper baskets and strenuously squeeze out another 2 weeks' worth of product when I've earned enough to buy the toothpaste factory? Here's another mind virus I've noticed lately. I must have imitated sulking when I didn't get my way as the youngest of 3 boys, or as a child in a series of foster homes, because I remember my adult forms of sulking, pouting, and even yelling when I was in my 30s and 40s. Recently, I was alone in my office, feeling frustrated because I couldn't locate something I needed. As my frustration mounted, I became increasingly irrational. I raised my voice, loudly protested, although there was no one else there, used profanity, and stomped through the house until I was distraught and had given myself an upset stomach. This incident lasted 1 or 2 minutes, and then I finally calmed down and found the book I thought was the culprit of my private drama. Why am I admitting this silly scene, given my desire to be seen as a rational spiritual teacher? Because it illustrates a point I'm making in this opening chapter. As an embryo, an infant, and a young boy, I must have seen this kind of behavior and mimicked it. The meme infected me, replicating and spreading from a relative or friend's mind to mine. And now, some 60 years later, I could have a built-in excuse for behaving irrationally enough to feel embarrassed by my infantile behavior and for making myself sick. The excuse is right there for me to use. I've always overreacted to frustration. It's just a part of me. I don't have any control over stomping around and blaming who knows what, using mild profanity and being immobilized because I cannot tolerate my frustration. The possibilities are inexhaustible for excusing this behavior. But the question I must ask myself is, do I really want to hold on to these habitual behaviors that are ultimately capable of making me sick? Just like me, you have thousands of imitated thoughts and actions that were absorbed through contact with individuals in your childhood environment. When mind viruses serve you, it's a pleasure to observe them and express silent gratitude. But when they continue to plague your life, inhibiting you from achieving your desires, then you're on notice to start shedding them. The point is that these mind viruses, or memes, can work against you in myriad of ways today. But you can also change them. I hasten to add here that by becoming aware of my own inclinations to use old, no longer sensible or practical responses to my frustrations, and by being willing to do the deprogramming work on my long-held thoughts, I now notice those infantile temptations and choose a healthier way. The bonus is that I'm more effective at locating the missing items that used to perplex me. Thinking that you'll always be poor, unlucky, overweight, or underweight, that you'll always have an addictive personality, that you'll never attract your soulmate, that you'll continue to have angry outbursts, that you'll always lack musical, artistic, or athletic ability, or that you'll forever be shy because you've always felt that way, are excuses. And when you see them for what they are, you can eliminate them. On the other hand, if you find them to be firmly entrenched personality traits and habits of thinking that can't be challenged, you'll symbolically suck your thumb and cry when life doesn't appear to cooperate. Believe me, though, it's far more energizing and fulfilling to practice the excuses be gone paradigm. Using a new set of thinking habits will enhance your life and help you attract all that you really are. At the same time, you'll be modeling a new and better way to live for the people in your environment who are unwitting victims of the excuse virus. You've been a mimetic superstar since birth, mimicking beliefs and behaviors from other influences beyond your family and social structure. Influences from your religious training, ethnic culture, television programming, and advertising, and the like have become a fixed part of your habitual mind. It isn't my purpose to examine all the ways you've acquired beliefs, since that's something only you can do. I'm writing this book to help you gain awareness of the excuses you use for behaving in ways that don't help you to achieve the level of health, happiness, and success you desire. I agree with the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, known for his brilliance as a leader of men and a spiritual conscious being. He is reported to have said, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." Our life is what our thoughts make it. Your behaviors are supported by your thinking patterns. That is, your thoughts truly make or break your life. While some of them are operating on a conscious level and are easy to recognize, others are deeply embedded within your subconscious. However, I prefer to call this deeply programmed or almost automatic second nature part of you, the habitual mind. For me, subconscious implies being below the level of creative awareness, a sort of mysterious entity that can't be known. Since the central theme of this book is that anything used to explain thinking and acting in the self-sabotaging ways is an excuse, it seems to me that calling it subconscious is really underscoring this notion. I can't help it. I can't talk about it. And I certainly can't change it, because it is, after all, below my conscious level, where I do all of my living. I personally find it hard to work with a part of myself that's not within my conscious life. Therefore, I choose to call this huge reservoir of emptiness a reservoir that pushes us all away from our divine dharma, as well as our optimal level of health, happiness, and success, the habitual mind. And while these types of thoughts might seem to be unreachable, I assure you that they'll come to the surface with an excuses be gone attitude. I know I told you it's really long. I just still have 2 more pages. So I didn't want to cut it off because I thought that we needed to explain what he's talking about. So 2 more pages if you bear with me. It's called Kissing the Big Excuses Be Gone. This opening chapter has introduced you to recent research and observations that are increasing our understanding of human nature. My purpose is to help you use this information to alter the parts of your life that are hampered by old science and old thinking. In summary, there are basically 2 big excuses we all utilize. The first one is, I can't really help the way I am. After all, people can't change their DNA. My genetic makeup is the culprit. The new biology says that there's an energy field surrounding and contained within all of your cells, and this field is influenced by your beliefs. Moreover, it is out of this field that all particles are created. It's the sole governing entity of the body. Something like 95% of us do not have genetic reasons for illnesses, depression, fear, or any other condition. Here, in the 21st century, science invites you to stop believing that you're a victim of your genetic makeup, because a large body of evidence demonstrates empirically that your beliefs can change your genes. I encourage you to examine this mind-bending idea excuse me, at greater depth than I'm able to offer here. There's an invisible part of you that you can call intelligence, higher function, Teo, thought, belief, spirit, God. You choose. The second big excuse is rooted in your early history and family conditioning. It impacts you in so many ways that you probably feel it's an impossible to be free of aspect of your life. Kiss this one goodbye as well. Just because you've been infected with a tradition meme and programmed to repeat it and pass it on to future generations doesn't mean you're unable to disinfect yourself and reprogram your inner world. These funny little non-things called memes are thoughts that you allow to become your master. And make no mistake about it, every excuse you've ever used is really a meme disguised as an explanation. Yet you can deprogram yourself from these mind viruses. A virus isn't concerned with whether it's contributing to your well-being or your ill-being, because it only wants to penetrate, replicate, and spread. But you don't have to be a victim of anything that was transferred from another mind to yours. Your beliefs have made these memes seem like second nature to you. While excuses are just thoughts or beliefs, you are the decider of what you ultimately store away as your guide to life. A short discourse from the Dhammapada, Dhammapada, gives a sense of the route individuals travel as they advance toward their own inherent perfection and self-realization. Savor this ancient wisdom and incorporate its message with the modern understanding of genetics and memetics. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. If one speaks or acts with a pure thought, happiness follows one like a shadow that never leaves. Wow, I know that was a lot, and I know that was long, but there is so much there to unpack and for you to think about. And memes. I think they use memes now in social media and stuff too. I never thought of that before, of how they are and they replicate. And it's so true. We've learned so much unwittingly, some bad things unwittingly, and come up with bad habits. But you know, if the will is there, you know that you can change it. And the ultimate goal is always to make your life better for you. Because when you're happy, the people around you are going to be happy, and then we'll spread love, and then our world will be happy. And won't that be fabulous, eh? So don't get discouraged and don't give up. Life's not easy, but it has beautiful moments, and making little changes in our lives will make huge changes really for you. So Excuses be gone. I send you my love. Until next week. Bye for now.